So, looks like you and me are the first two in here, just like at work in the mornings.
Yes.
So, early bird catches the worm, late birds get promoted last. All right. Anyway, bring some humor to the situation. So, all right, let me actually. There he is. There's Risky.
From here too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The video. Okay, let's go ahead and begin the discussion. So, what are we looking at today? We're looking at some old business and some new business. So, it's been a while since we've had a leadership guild, and this is a good start, I think, jump starting it again. So, let's cover the old business real quick, and then we'll move on. Okay, so how can we be more innovative in the hospitality chapter to observe OKRs and SLAs as a culture, squad workflow and SLA? I think this is still an ongoing question. Um, how do we actually bring innovation to the hospitality chapter, which is one of the hardest seems areas to actually innovate on, but it also is one of the most that has the greatest guest impact if we can innovate on that. Let's just go to Risky real quick. Risky, what do you think is the chief difficulty about innovating in the hospitality chapter?
Mm.
Or
I don't think it's difficult, sir.
okay, not difficult to innovate. Okay,
It's just maybe we don't know yet, but we have to be innovative.
oh, okay. So we don't know how to innovate, right? Okay, all right. So let's see. But we can be so creative, right? In terms of how we innovate. Look, I mean, that's an innovation right there. We
Yes.
decided to put Rosella flavored into a bigger capacity because we saw that more people were drinking. Not today. Today, I think we over. But okay, let's just take that for example, right? So we have a new water infuser here. And so I guess innovation starts with a problem, or also known as an opportunity.
Mm.
Okay. So, hey, Rafik, welcome in. This is perfect. We're talking about hospitality innovation.
Karape.
Hey, talking about me?
We're recording, by the way, too, Rafik. So, whatever you say will be can and could be used against you in the court of law. Okay. So,
What?
no, that's just what police say before they put handcuffs on you. In the U.S. And here, they don't say that at all. Okay, here we're talking about hospitality innovation. We're saying, how do we actually innovate? I guess the first step is to identify what the problem or the opportunity is. Let's take a case example here. We'll do a case study. This is a fun case study, and it's the water infuser. All right. So, what's the problem? What's the problem with the old water infuser?
Too small.
Yeah, it was too small. So we needed to refill it constantly, right? And that was kind of annoying. Okay, so what's the solution?
Very bigger.
Yeah, you can buy a bigger one. Okay, and then we look at the result. Now, looking back at the result today, which we can all see over here, do you think we arrived at the correct solution? There's still that much left. And it's even bigger if you actually see it. So what's the result? Is this a correct solution or not?
This one is you cannot measure, sir. It's like Moilo cooking every day. Sometimes there's a lot of food left. Sometimes it's no people.
Right. Okay. Great. Good. So that's good. So the result is that, let's say, it's hard to measure and track because we don't know how many people will be at base every day, right? Okay. So that's good. So then that is back to the equation of expectation or disappointment is expectation minus reality, right? Okay, so we try to fix the reality first, and after we fix the reality, then we realize there's a new reality. Okay, so we got a bigger water infuser so that it could serve more people, but today on a Friday, there's not a lot of people here, so we still have quite a lot of infused water left over. So then we need to fix the expectation of what to expect, right? And that is just a process of innovation. When Rafik came up with, let's say, the night shift idea, What was the reality? Well, the reality, the problem. Let's go to Rafik. What was the problem back with the night shift situation? Why did we innovate on night shift?
Yeah, first because the guest, even though the owner is always calling the host
Hmm.
in the night, well, it's only small problem regarding the check-in and everything. And also, that is the first one. The second one is many inquiry, even though the request is expired for the next day, so it's no one is follow up.
Okay, great.
So if we have a night shift, so at least until 3 a.m. still covered.
Okay, great. So that was a reality problem, and we fixed it with a reality solution. But sometimes there's also an expectation solution. So let's say, for example, we changed one of the expectations, which was hosts, instead of being responsible for a guest throughout their entire stay, are only responsible for the guest during their normal working hours. And then afterwards, somebody else would take over. So we had to change that expectation because we couldn't expect all the hosts to be available pretty much their entire
Mm-hmm.
lives if there was a guest in house, which was the previous expectation before
Mm-hmm.
when the company was really young. Okay, all right. So for every innovation, I think there is essentially a problem, there's a result, and then there's some change. Either it's a change in the result, or it's a change in, or a change in the reality, or a change in the expectation, which is good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, we're trying to progress along. So this goes over to Rafik. Rafik, since you have a broad view of hospitality, what can we do to innovate more in hospitality? What can we do so that, let's say, Bukit Vista experiences are the freshest, newest, most thrilling experiences that guests can experience when they come to Bali?
Hmm, interesting, sir.
Yeah.
But
It is.
yeah, but if you want to make innovation, that is, I talked to XR yesterday on the meeting, right? So if you want to have innovation or better hospitality, is at least you must from the bottom.
Definitely.
So at least the operational is good now.
Yes.
So my question is, did the operational every day is good now,
Mm-hmm.
This is a good question. Yes.
right?
Um,
So we need to
no.
fix that first.
Right.
We need to fix that first, and then after that, same like I said, every day and to everyone. So if you have a routine and you have a project, right? That is the first one is routine. The second one is a project. If you are already expert on
Mhm.
your routine will be influenced to your project. For example, like me, I doing hosting, I'm doing reservation every day, I'm doing review every day. What is my innovation?
Mhm.
So the guest is calling me at 7, at 8, at 9. My innovation is to do night shift.
Right.
So I give influence to everyone. So it's not only because try to manage your time.
Mhm.
So the time is not pushing you every day, but you are manage your time.
Very good. Manage your-
That is the simple thing. If you already hospitable to yourself, I think it will be influence to everyone. But try to give a very good as a leader because this is a leader guild. As a leader, must be give a very good influence to the other. For example, if you are coming at 10, at least you go home like a simple way at 7 or 8. So everyone will see it. Oh, Rafik is going home at 7. Why are you going home at 5? Because yeah, it's a simple thing, sir. Because that is mindset.
yes.
So because and Indonesian culture is called follow the leaders. Seem like if you saw on the Harry Potter, right? They will follow Harry Potter. They will follow Harry Potter. What is Harry Potter do it? Everyone will have a what is called reflection for that person. So
Okay.
if you have a good habit, good attitude, they will follow you.
Okay.
That is my point on the Bukit Vista.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So follow. Be the change that you want to see. Okay. Okay. All right. So to answer your question objectively, Rafik, let me also say, how do we know? Oh, Dominic just joined us. So welcome in, Dominic. Okay. So what can we do to know if we're operationally successful? It's a good question for Dom. Dom, how do we know if we're operationally successful? What sort of Rafik talked about innovation in hospitality. He said before we can innovate, we need to make sure that our current operations are successful. So how do we make sure that our current operations are good?
Is it on the point of view of the guest or the owner?
Ooh, good point. Is the point of view of the guest or the owner? I don't know. Both, I guess, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm, if it's from the point of view from the guest, most probably you can see on the review rate, especially on
hmm
the operational things. And then
hmm
from the point of view of the owner, I believe finance have the annually review, owner review for Bukit Vista, right? That
Okay.
mentioning the operational thing also.
Okay. Okay. Great. So we have to be able to measure um, how we determine this, right? And I think this is where innovation can happen. Let's say, for example, back to what Rafik was saying. If you see that there is an SLA that is weak, that is not strong, then that's an opportunity for innovation to happen to fix that. So why are we not getting, let's say, a 33% review rate? And we see that we're experimenting with new things. It is pretty normal for, let's say, the first experiment not to work. The first experiment is just really a clue to get you to your second experiment and to keep on going. I think that's also one principle of leadership is to not give up and know that it's more of how you run the process than how do you arrive at a destination. Effectively, if you're a good leader, you should never end. You should be able to keep on leading new things and grow. Okay, cool. Good discussion about innovation and leadership, and hopefully this brings some insight to some questions that we've been thinking about. Okay, second order of old business is here about best practice reminding 30 minutes. Thank you, Risky, for coming and reminding me to remind everyone. This was discussed last time, and I think it's a good way to raise awareness for the beginning of a guild. Okay, we have no other may. Okay, we have one more. Let's see, old business here on innovative behavior, solution focused. Okay, so we have this innovation plan here that I guess we've discussed about. So we can go ahead and I guess remove this
Can
innovation
be your
plan.
secretary, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, sir. Okay. So, Mr. Secretary, which is Risky, we've appointed Risky. And on the innovation plan for Bukit Vista, let me just open that up real quick and see what's going on. Oh, okay. All right. So, all these different
Yes.
ideas for innovation. Yes, sir.
It's
To
connected
Mr.
to
Risky.
internet.
Yeah, it should be connected there. Is it not? No?
No.
No, it's not. Okay. Here,
What
let's
happened?
try this. So, it might be on. Oh, yeah, it's on fiber. That's
Oh,
why.
I
Fiber
see.
sucks. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's for the innovation plan. I think we can probably put in the library somewhere. Okay. Uh, okay. This is a good topic. This was what Risky was talking about employee turnover. We had a major discussion on it, and we've also spoken about it in HR. I think it's good to also give some context. So we've addressed some of the issues like salary and time off, health insurance, myths versus reality, and I think we've had enormous changes in the company to address those factors. There's another factor that I wanted to bring up, and it's pretty interesting. We talked about it actually in the HR guild a few times. So let me share this with you. Um, does anybody know what the median time of employment at Google is? So Google is a really great company, right? They pay well, lots of perks, lots of benefits, a dream company for a lot of people, and they take a very, very small set of people who actually apply. Guess what their, let's say, median employment tenure is? So what is if you take 100 people who work at Google, let's say the person who stayed the longest and the person who quit after one day, what is the person in the middle? How long have they been at Google?
Year.
A year. Wow. Very good. Okay, Risky.
Because you
Sorry.
told me before.
Oh yeah, very tough. And Dominic. Okay.
Well, yeah, a year. Most
Okay.
probably a year.
Okay. Good. So this is something that we've discovered also at. This is a pretty interesting chart. Um, we are, let's say, in a startup space, and we're also in a high innovation space. And one of the things we've noticed by comparing, let's say, the tenure, basically how long does somebody stay at a
Oh
company?
wow.
Yeah. So let's take the company that where people stay the longest in is Kodak. I don't know if anybody knows Kodak. If you know Kodak, please raise your hand. Okay, so everyone knows Kodak. Uh, Rafik, you know Kodak, right? Okay, and Alvin looks like evening where you are. Alvin, okay, Alvin knows Kodak too. So is Kodak a successful company or not a successful company?
I never heard like it's not really in the
It's not in the air anymore.
Not in the
yeah
air anymore, right?
Yeah,
Did it used to be a successful company?
yeah.
used to be. Yeah.
Ah, okay, so let me give you kind of like one of the business insights about Kodak. Did you know what company first invented the digital camera?
Kodak, right?
Kodak invented the digital camera, and they were disrupted by the digital camera. So the question is, how did a company invent something that later disrupted it?
Because no innovation of their product,
Yeah.
or yeah,
They innovated. They actually created the next generation camera, but they didn't really succeed in the digital camera space. When you think of a digital camera now, what do you think of?
Sony
Or even
Phone, yeah.
phone.
Or iPhone.
Apple, which was not even a camera company at all,
Mm.
right? Became like one of the Sony and Apple and all the other Canon, um,
Yeah.
Nikon. They became like the film companies. Okay, so why did Kodak invent this, or how did Kodak invent the digital camera and not benefit from the digital camera?
Not
Mm,
sure.
sure, sure.
The people who were running Kodak didn't want the digital camera. The people who invented it worked in the company, but the people who were running the company didn't want it. They didn't want it because when a new innovation like a digital camera comes out, of course it won't be as good as film, right? It didn't have as many pixels, it didn't have as many whatever, but any person with any vision could see that if you could make a picture unlimited number of times and that there's a beginning to this, then perhaps there's a possibility. So let me also bring you back to the idea of, let's say, a car. When a car first came out, do you think a car could go as fast as a horse?
Mm, no, I think so.
Early cars
Horse
didn't go
faster.
very
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, horses were able to go faster. Do you think it was very efficient on gas? Could you get gas really easily for an early car? There wasn't gas stations, right?
Mm.
So it was kind of a pain to have a car. It wouldn't go very fast. Um, it isn't like a horse because the roads aren't very
Like electric car now.
like an electric car now, right? So the idea is like this: in very innovative companies, you kind of need to have, let's say, new ideas be championed, and you need to have older people accept these ideas. But in older companies, a lot of the older people will block these ideas. They'll say, "Hey, look,
Mm.
this isn't such a good idea. It doesn't look right on the business metrics now, so cancel it." And this is kind of what happens when you've been at a company for 20 years, right? You start believing
Ah.
that, hey, look, this is the way that things always are. There should be no change, and we don't want any change. And you can see also the median age of people is around 50. So the question started becoming, do we
Mm.
want to actually have a company like that? Any of these companies up in these top five that have the longest tenure for employees are not very innovative. General Motors used to be one of the biggest and coolest car companies, and now I don't know if you guys even know General Motors,
I know
right?
General Motors.
Kind of,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's sort of an old-fashioned company. You can see people stay 10 years at General Motors. So then you take a look at the opposite side. So these are the companies with the shortest tenures, with the least amount of time people work in. Life insurance is really weird. Why life insurance? I guess selling life insurance must suck. It's kind of a depressing gig to be in. But Amazon and Google are amongst the companies that have the shortest tenure, but they're also the ones with the most innovation. So one of the things I've seen, let's say, with employee turnover is I think Bukit Vista at this point is it's highly innovative, right? And so nothing is certain at Bukit Vista. If you work here 1 year, it doesn't mean you're going to work here the next year. If you were successful in 2019, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be successful in 2020. And so that I think is something that is going to be always with us as long as we're innovative. We're going to have to deal with turnover as being a real question on and how we manage it. So this goes back to the reality and expectation thing. Is it something that we need to change our reality? And certainly is, and this is why we've reset the contracts and done more to create employee security and employee sustainability. But I think as long as we hire, let's say, younger people in this category, as long as we strive to innovate, I think this will always be a, let's say, the highest risk band of turnover. If you choose to do the same thing, then most people will be like, okay, all right, cool, I'll just stay here. Everything's going to go smooth. I can project. But if it's always sort of tumultuous, it's a little bit harder. Hey, welcome in, Bayou. Okay, all right. So that's a discussion I want to have about employee turnover. Is there any more discussion about employee turnover? No. Okay. All right. This has been talked to death now. Okay. All right. The elephant in the room. Okay. Let's go ahead, Mr. Secretary, and go ahead and delete that part. Okay. Let's go up to the top again because there's some stuff that I think is pretty good. This is Bayou on community management. Bayou, how much traction have we had on community management? A lot, not so much, or what's the latest update?
Not so much actually. So currently, the I can say that the friction is that we don't have uh, bandwidth. I mean, we cannot do we cannot ask someone to focus on doing that because most of them are actually doing other things.
Right.
Like hosting, and I've asked Rizky actually to try to be a community manager basically
Risky.
because yeah, but I don't think that he have the bandwidth as well. So especially if the approach would be different rather than so far like the host, the finance, and basically some people that is interacting with partner actually in a service mode. So they serve the partner. So when we want to change that into a what do you call it, like a mentor mode, it would a little bit difficult.
I see.
Yeah, like yeah, for a person like Rafik, I think it would be easier because Rafik is mostly delegating the work to the host, so that approach also easier for him. But I don't know, maybe our approach to getting community management is not optimal yet.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's go around to Rafik. Rafik, any thoughts on the development of community management?
Okay, I think I'm agree with you. For example, like me now, if you're asking me for as a community, it's very difficult if I was doing community at squad one and squad two. That is for me it's very impossible if you want to very good community
Hmm.
because now we still don't have Canggu. So I'll cover and support at Canggu, but at least at Canggu, I will be representative of community from Bukit Vista. So now same like I said yesterday on SNR, I'll try to not manage, delegate Rian as a community at squad one. So I will pairing with him. So Rian will be 80% become a community, 20% is backup for the host.
Okay.
So I will train him to because our what is our mission is guest happy, owner happy, and BP happy. So on that part, guest happy and owner happy, we need to manage that one.
Okay.
So we need to guest happy and owner happy. So the back office like internal tools, finance, CEO, co-founder is not disturbed by the owner anymore. That is my next vision, sir.
Okay. Sounds good. Um, Listen up, guys. Does this saying? Thank you very much, Rafik, and Bayou for your input. Now I have a more clear picture on what's happening in community. This is a quote I just want to leave with you guys. Right. Oftentimes we do feel really busy with the daily operations, but this is called sharpening your saw. So if you're going to, let's say, cut down a tree, spend more time sharpening the saw. So, meaning that yes, we're going to be busy with operations forever in our lives, right? That's just a given. But if we can make the process of operations more efficient, if we need to, let's say, invest some time to think about how to uh, get the owners on board to support us, that's actually a pretty good use of time. 1 hour, I think, getting an owner to understand and getting their compliance and getting them on board can save hundreds of hours of actual operation work. You just think about owners who are really on board with us, and it's an area that we don't have to trouble ourselves too much with. And then you think about an area where there's a lot of lossiness. So I do think that community management is a form of sharpening the axe and making things a little bit better. We are bringing in new people. There are like massive amounts of internship sort of things in potential right now. Would that, let's say, out to hosts, would that actually help with things? Let's say if you had interns cover, let's say, meeting guests and doing the reservations and such, would that really free up some time to actually think about community management? Okay, over to Dominic.
I believe yes, because I've been experiencing this when there was like no one in the first month and in the middle of December before
Mhm.
Andre start his intern. Yeah, I've been like I usually only do the community for Jogja and also the revenue, and then suddenly when there's no one, I start doing the inquiry too, and then I
Ah,
guess hosting, and then when Andre come, I can delegate my operational things to Andre, train him how to do that in a good way, and then I'm more focusing on the revenue and the community only.
okay,
Yeah,
good. All right. So the good news is we're seeding a lot of internship programs. I think we're
yeah.
going to get more than enough interns this season, like probably 30 plus right now.
Oh, oh.
We're going a little bit overboard. We're getting more than what we actually need, so we can get, let's say, the best set. But there's already about three faculties. I mean, right now, buddy, how many interns are we do we have right now? Like
Five,
six, right?
six with
The
Andre.
five plus. This is the largest group of interns we've ever had. And during the summer, I think it's just going to pick up. So, anyways, HR is working on that so that essentially this will allow for anybody who's a full-time employee to think more about this. We're also hiring people part-time and freelance roles too as well, so that we can start sharpening the axe and doing axe sharpening work instead of swinging and cutting down trees with dull axes. Okay, thank you for the update, Bayou, and Rafik on the status of community. It's still up for grabs if anybody wants to champion that mission with the community. Okay, let's go back up to leadership, and thank you very much. Okay, so it's been moved over to old business. All right, this is really good. Risky's put together quite a lot of material here on a promotion review. So, Risky, why don't you walk us through what you've written?
Hmm?
This is you, right?
Yeah, but
Did I write this back?
yeah, you read that.
Okay.
We already discussed it.
Questions and there's the answers. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'll briefly go through it and let's see if we're satisfied with the answers. So the question is, should the employee propose it or the company? And HR or the executive should contact the employee to notify them that their opportunity is here. And executive is the judge. Did I write that? That doesn't seem like right. Okay, wait. I don't mean that at all. Okay, if I wrote that, then that doesn't make any sense. But I think it's up to the employee initiative. Um, we don't really want to pressure anybody to do something that they're not comfortable doing. If you are happy, let's say, continue being like in a specialist role, if you're happy doing whatever you're doing, that's fine. I mean, I think that's okay. But if you feel like you're ready for the growth, then this is your time to shine. And I think we always will respond positively to that. Any person who says, "Hey, look, I want to apply for a promotion," there's no backlash if you don't get it. There's whatever. I think that's always really good. But the thing is, only I guess the person knows if they're ready. Um, I might think somebody's ready. Let's say if it was just up to me, I say, "Oh, okay, all right, hey, you're ready for a review now." But I might not have seen all the different things that let's say your committee have seen, and that would be a false signal. So I think maybe the best way to do this is, maybe before even asking for promotion, maybe just go around and ask, "Hey, would I be? What do you think my chances are of getting promoted?" Right? And then maybe have an earnest discussion about that. beforehand. That could be one way to test the waters out, so it's not like a full blown thing. It could be a way of getting feedback. Okay, so what are everyone's thoughts about that? Let's go to Dom first. Dom, what's your thoughts about how who should propose the promotion review?
Yeah, from I agree with the point of that we are the MOE the one that it should be propose the promotion because we are the one that know if we are ready or not.
Mhm.
But as an HR and executive, I agree with the point that we need to remind them that there's an opportunity available for them to have the promotion review.
Okay, it's in everyone's contract, right? So there's the time bands when
Yeah.
it's appropriate to ask. I mean, if you feel ready before that, then by all
Yeah.
means, right? I would rather promote more people and have a lot of leaders because we need a lot of leaders earlier than later. Okay, all right, cool. Let's go to Alvin. Alvin, any thoughts on who should initiate the discussion about promotion?
I think HR or let's say the executive itself have a responsibility to remind. Sometimes this is what happen, right? Some of the people actually already past their due dates, let's say, from the time bound that actually we created on the contract. Let's say usually it's only 3 months or 4 months, but it's already with the 5 months. Then that's actually the HR responsibility to remind them again what is actually their situation or what is actually their obstacle on it.
I think I've done that though. Okay, to defend HR. Like I remember a
Yeah.
few cases, like D1's case. I remind D1 like I don't
Yeah,
remember.
that's basically the best practice, right? This what we discussed is basically the best practice. So I
Sure.
think it's good for the employee itself to initiate their promotion. Let's
Okay.
say if actually only 2 months and actually they think that actually they are ready, or maybe it's already past the 3 months and they take the initiative, that is okay for them. But let's say if already past the 4 months or anything else, it's already way from their time bound with the contract itself, then HR have a responsibility to let's say remind them again what is actually the obstacle that they don't want to take or it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Um, okay. HR or okay. Thank you, Graphic, for the announcement. Um, I was okay. All right. I'll talk about that part later. That goes outside. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Okay. So we have a general agreement. HR should remind a candidate to progress along on their career. All right. What is the company requirement for somebody to call leadership excellence? Okay. So gathering people around an idea, doing and delivering it first, not a title. Being a leader first and earning the respect. Understand the people around him or her, the feelings about your leadership. Someone that can be looked up to, giving and earning respect, decisive, and having integrity. Okay, great. Did I write this? It doesn't seem like my
We actually already discussed this like maybe one
Two-
and a half months ago.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yes, we discussed this one.
Yeah.
I think this is me. No, so you ask me and then you write it down.
Ah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me just. Okay, all right. So this is old business actually.
Yeah, that's all business episode.
All right. So
Okay.
I think we can. Can we just move it over then? Okay, let's just move it over then. Great. Also, leadership excellence in the context of Bukit Vista is having led successful projects before. So that part is pretty important. I think a project is always something that is a proof of achievement. If you've led successive projects and you're reliable on leading successful projects, that is a good sign. Okay, MVP delegate. I think we talked about this already. So this one I think we can delete. This was already old business and spoken about. And okay, risky. What do you think the ideal leader for Bukit Vista will look like? Like me, right? No, I'm kidding. Good question. Let's open the floor for more discussion on that. What would the ideal leader for Bukit Vista look like?
Do we have the metrics for the leader role, sir?
We don't because yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should have a metric for. Or actually, no, the same thing, right? It would be the same as the career matrix.
LILC
LE.
Yeah.
LE.
LE, yeah.
LE.
Should we take a look at that real quick and see if let's see if that's going on. I think okay. Let's open the floor. Any further discussion about metrics for ideal leadership? Okay, silence. Okay, You want to be a leader? I think being comfortable to be the first is also pretty important to be a leader. That part is something I see that we sometimes struggle with as a group of people. So Risky was asking, well, is anybody else here? I was like, if you're a leader, that's enough, right? You can be the first, and you don't need to feel bothered by that. If somebody doesn't show up, that's their problem. Um, I think being first is definitely part of, um and being first in many different ways. It can be you're the first one to see this problem, or you're the first one to see the opportunity and do something about it. That's a pretty powerful instinct, and that definitely just objectively that's a leader, right? If you're the first to do it, and then other people start kind of following you to do that thing, then I think there's something to be said about that. But for Bukit Vista, I'll let you guys talk about it. I'm gonna go get a glass of this beautiful infused water. Oh, sorry, Dom.
Yeah.
Dom, why don't you start the discussion? See where it goes. What do you think would be ideal leader for Bukit Vista?
So based on the metrics we have, where's the metrics? I believe a leader have a should reach the LI, the LC, and the LE, and then can bring up the. I mean, like can be being the one someone look up for when they have a struggle or an obstacle, and then I mean, like they don't have always to be the one that give the idea, but they can also be the one that gather the idea of their teammates
Very good.
and then
Okay.
bring up a new idea. But as a leader, not always need to be the someone came up first with the idea, but they can gather all the ideas from different person.
All
Yeah.
right. I like that idea. Okay. So Dom says person able to gather best ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
From team. Okay. All right. Let's go over to Rafik. What do you think Rafik should be the ideal leader for Bukit Vista?
Right?
Right. Ideal leadership for you,
Oh,
Rafik.
inspire delight.
Okay, very good. Right, so true to the theme of the company. Okay,
So be a good listener. Uh, bring the idea, everything, and also apa sih namanya merangkum ide menjadi suatu inovasi.
Yeah. Gather
That
the
is,
ideas. Yeah. Same.
so, for example, I was a senior, and the junior have an idea, and this junior is have an idea. So we sit down together and become a innovation and a good idea for the company.
okay,
That is a good leader and be influenced to everyone.
okay. Can you give me an example when you did that, Rafik?
Oh, so the first one like idea. So maybe some of you, maybe Jing and Bayu already know when Bastian already there, and we have a general meeting with the all hosts and also the reservation. And Emil said get call from the guest at 10 p.m. when she's clubbing or something because only want to check in. So on that idea, I said, why we don't doing afternoon shift or night shift? So I try to manage that one with me and Tendi. That's the first one. So and then Alvin, and that is the first one. So it's now is 6% is doing night shift.
Okay, we'll get you more. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
And then the influence. What is the influence? Influence mean if you are a good leader, be a good listener. For example, like yesterday. This is this is experience yesterday. One guest is overbooking at Alam Joglo. Maybe Rizky know it.
Was it the
Yeah.
what Chandra was yelling about?
Yeah.
Yes, and Chandra is yelling, "Oh, blah, 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 overbooking, blah, 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 blah." And then she come to me, what I can help, blah, 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 blah. Okay, talk with the guest, and I show the profile and everything. It's no review for the guest. Take a column and then talk with the guest. So it's not our fault, but it's the owner fault. So blah blah blah, and then the guest is agree and happy. So be a good listener. If if your teammate is angry, don't angry. Try to listen and try to be a good what is called good advisor on that part. So also what is called if you want to be a good leader, don't judge. You are wrong. You are wrong, but give a solution. So
Okay.
yeah, that is my opinion. Be a good leader.
Okay. Don't judge. Give a solution. Good advisor. Don't
Yeah.
respond anger with anger. Okay. All right. Listen well and implement. Let's go to Alvin. Alvin, what would you imagine to be, let's say, ideal leader for Bukit Vista?
For me, I think in general, not only British, I think. First, just like on Buffett, they start and process basically. So sometimes your teammates only need you to listen to their story or listen to their problem. Uh, Advice or anything else, it can be think later for me. As long as you process it. Sometimes their story can also be processed on future or let's say on next 3 months or 2 months. So I think that's the first basic, listening and processing all the information that they got. Secondly, also a leader has also need a responsibility to drive someone that actually they lead. So for the newer people, or let's say for someone that actually working with him or her, basically they also have responsibility to make them also grow, just like him. So leader cannot grow by themselves. They also have responsibility to grow the others and also meet another leader. Basically, I think that's the idea.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very well said, Alvin. Okay, great. Let's go to Bite. Bite. Any thoughts on that?
Okay, so far it's actually basically the leader in general, right? In team environment, but I think in Bukit Vista we need a leader that actually understand the vision and have the guts to uh, say that it's not aligned with our vision. If that is very difficult thing to say. When everyone is doing good but in different direction, then we always say that, oh yeah, already doing good. Thank you, you are already doing good. But it's actually not in uh, in the same vision with what we want in the company, right? So like right now, for example, we are I don't know. This is not in the wrong direction, but we are focusing on the supporting things right now. Because we are a hospitality company, and we are focusing on different things other than hospitality. Yeah, this supportive things like the HR, the I don't know, the technology and other things. But no one is actually focusing on the hospitality. So that's pretty funny, and that's because the I think that's because we lose the what do you call it, the ghost light, the torch basically that guides us that everything that we do should actually support something that is that is in our vision. Like right now everything is not di call nggak nyambung. So basically, when we tell the stories in our website, in our post that we are like a hospitality first, then we want guests to what do you call it, like experience the best experience when they are in Bali, things like that. But none of us actually working on that. None of us actually working on walking around with the guests or meeting them or drinking with them or sharing story with them. There's no one doing that. It's only in our blog post, right? Everyone is busy managing reservation and then doing some other things, overbookings, issues, complaints, but no one really do the talk with the hospitality dream that we share already. We already shared the dream, but we haven't what do you call it? We haven't direct our action into that part yet.
Mm.
So yeah, we need a leader to see that thing that we are not in in that direction yet.
True. Okay, very good. Thank you for that feedback, Bayu. Um, listening can be hard sometimes. I mean, it's not always just easy things to hear, and I think that is it's very good to reflect and see are we actually aligned to our hospitality goals. Okay, all right, let's go over to Risky. Risky, what are your thoughts?
Actually, it's already all there. So I was about to
Hmm.
add some. A leader is the one who has to speak up, but it's must by you actually already. Courage to step on toes. So
Okay,
yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
all.
Okay, good. Just out of curiosity, there's a random question out there. Do the core values at Bukit Vista help develop leadership?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So as long as we,
Yep.
let's say, think about the core values, then we should probably be on track in terms of where we lead to. Okay.
Mm.
Yes. I just to extend on what Bayu just said recently, I had a moment of inspiration recently talking to two from Christina's, right?
Ah.
Risky and I were going to write this letter of complaint
Mm.
to Nate, the CTO of
Mm.
Airbnb. And so in our letter of complaint, we were going to write something that was nasty, that was like aggressive and saying, hey, look, what is it about your company that makes it so difficult to work with? And why are all these payments messed up and all this stuff? And we wanted to get two to support us to sign that thing and send it to Nate so we'd have two people who looked at it. The interesting thing, and I took a moment to actually reflect, and I was like, oh, two is pretty wise. He looked at it and he said, your tone isn't hospitable enough, right?
Mhm.
Your tone is actually aggressive. Your
Yeah.
tone does not actually create a feeling that, you got to think about how the person who reads this is going to respond and how embarrassing it would be for their teams to receive all this stuff too. So I was like, really? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you really want to get things done and you really want to be a person of hospitality, you should think about that. I was like, that's a good point.
Mm.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. So I think that is something self-reflection upon all of us. I'm really happy to see more people participate. Used to be like when we did these things, there was only like maybe me, Bayu, and Rafik, right? But now we have double the amount of leaders, or potential leaders to be, and this is a good sign. And so I think this is reflected upon, let's say, especially with me, but across everyone, is if you want the company to be hospitable, then it really is got to look at your nature now, right? Are you
Mm.
hospitable in the way that you think about, let's say, anybody, not just, let's say, inside the company, but outside the company too? Like, let's say, to a guy who comes in to fix the air conditioner or a
Mm.
Gojek driver who comes in, do they feel this is a hospitality company or do they feel like they're being ignored and nobody cares about them? And so these are good questions, I think, to actually examine about our own culture and if we're truly operating at a hospitality level. Okay, all right. Let's continue. Good discussion, Mr. Secretary. I think we can move this over to all business. Okay, Tendi has a discussion here about a new project using dialogue flow. Is this the bot that we're working on by you?
Yes, correct.
Okay, good. Should I wait for Tendi to come back to talk to us about this, or should we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
I don't know why is this here actually.
okay. I don't know why either, but it's under mentor and coaching. I don't know why it's mentor and coaching, but okay. Let's wait for Tendi to explain what that is, and let's go on to the next part. Okay, this is about vision. Um, so this is the question that I'd like to ask everybody, and these are my visions, and I want to share these visions with our team. So one of the things I think that is important or could be quite influential as we start operational based in Congo. So I want to ask everybody why this would be a priority or why not. So let's go around. Let's go to Rafik first. Do you think this is a good idea and why?
Uh, okay, thank you, Jing. So me and Tandy have a project to start operational business based in Canggu.
Okay.
Because why? Because first one is like Tandy, D1, and Joel will be cover my beat the next. So they is too far from Jimbaran. So if they want to overnight over here, it's more easy to if any problem. That is why. And then this, the first one and the second one, Canggu is growth. So we will have a lot of property at Canggu, Pilawiska, Kencana Homestay, and many guest house will coming and villa is coming at Canggu. That's why we need to person who will cover. Same like Bastian before he's make a cost at the Canggu before, right?
Sea base.
Yeah, sea base.
Okay. Okay. Good. Um, is there any objection to this idea? Does anybody think that this isn't a good enough why? No. Okay.
Oh,
All right. So, okay, there's a good reason for to have it. How will we do this, Rafik?
So Tandy already made paper on Squatchu journal. So Tandy already discover at least 5 places, and also, but the long term already have agreement with Paraka. Paraka will build us. Uh, the first floor is mini market, and then the second floor is already talked with Wayana and Paraka as well. Yeah. So they will prepare us 2 bedroom upstairs, so with our logo as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll have an office. No, wait,
Yeah.
is this an office or is this just bedrooms?
Uh, Office including bedroom, so like a ruko, sir.
Okay.
So
like penthouse.
yeah, like
Okay, like for a house. Okay, C for house. All right.
yeah.
Okay. When will this be done?
So but the place that Tandy discover, we wait for Tandy, and then the Paraka will done on August 2020.
Okay, and then it's 10 days the project champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think we should probably move in before August, but let's say
So
yeah, that's a long
so
term.
my point is like this, sir. For example, Tandy have a place at least cheap for a while. So I tell to Tandy and Wayana to rent at least 3 or 4 months
Okay.
before Paraka is up Paraka building, and then after building we move over there.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. I think it's also a really good idea to seed new candidates. There's a lot of activity in Canggu, so host candidates, business development candidates, they should probably start
And
their.
also, what you know is what my vision, Canggu.
No, what's your vision,
My
Rafik?
vision is market building is not going to find a guest house, but a guest house find us.
Us. Okay. All right. They will. Oh yeah. Just to let you know. Oh, that reminds me. I started playing around with YouTube ads, and guess how many views we have on the explainer video now?
1 million.
Not yet, but very good. Yeah, it's about 12K. I think it's more now. It's 17K.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was only it's only about a million rupiahs. Gets you
Bagi Anda,
18.
membangun hubungan dengan staf di tempat dan memahami lingkungan di sekitar Anda.
Yeah, so 18,000 views already, and this is all targeted in Bali. So my math is like this. What? How many people live in Bali? 4 million.
Is
Uh,
it a full view or skip?
30 seconds counts as a view by you. So whatever, if they view 30 seconds of this, then it counts as a view. But I'll show you the analytics later. We have about. Oh wait, I'll show you the analytics right now. I can show you right here. Let's take a look at the analytics and see what they look like. Okay, how many people live in Bali before that? Rafik, how many people live in Bali?
4 million, sir.
4 million,
4.2.
yeah? Okay, 4 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at 4 million people. Oh, so that's 400,000. So 4 million people. We're probably trying to reach the top 10%, right? The top 10% of people are the ones that probably own property. So that's about 400,000. 400,000 divided by what? 18,000 right now. Uh, so for 22 million rupiahs, we can reach everybody who's probably a property owner in Bali with a really good video, which is not bad actually. 22 million is not a little bit of money, but to reach every property owner is pretty exciting. It's like, oh yeah, I know Bukit Vista. I saw your video, right? That would be a pretty exciting thing. Okay, to get to Bayou's point, we got about 75% That's the audience retention rate. So we lose about 50% after about a minute over here. Yep. But the good news is it's relatively affordable to get a pretty large YouTube audience. I was pretty happy about that. I was like, yes, cool. So we can just blanket everybody with Bukit Vista ads all day long. Your grandmother will say, "Hey, look, I saw this ad. It was like your company, right?" Bingo. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Anyway, that's a new little fun thing. So add to Rafik's vision of people will find Bukit Vista on their own. Okay. Great. Let's talk about the next idea. Okay. This is kind of like what Bayu's working on. So one of my visions is to start a research, learning, and development program in Jogja. Okay. Let's talk about why. Bayu, why should we do this?
Because we can be the first.
That's good.
Yeah, everyone remember who's the first go to the moon, right? But no one remember who's the second, right?
Okay. All right. For legacy. All right. Sure. That's a
But
bad.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Is there
yeah,
any other?
yeah, of course. The more important thing is that basically we have a lot of questions that are unanswered or mostly answered by I think and I heard things like that. So basically, instead of doing that, we do a real research and then we do a real what do you call it, a measurement, and then we know the real result basically. If it's a bad result, then it's not a loss for us to do the project, but we gain an insight that we are actually doing it wrong. So that's still always for me. I think research and experiments basically still always giving us something. We never lose on that one.
Absolutely. That's failing fast. Good stuff. Okay, let's go over to Alvin. Alvin, what do you think about this idea? Why should we start research, learning, and development programs in Jogja?
Could you tell me a little bit of details on what is actually the research, learning, and development program in Jogja itself, so I can make it clear?
Okay, so basically what we've noticed is that we can recruit a lot of, let's say, technologically advanced, and we can have research programs that collaborate with the universities in Jogja, and perhaps other universities as well too across Java, which where the big schools are. So we noticed that there is a friction getting people to Bali from like people in Bandung will go to Jogja, but they won't go to Bali, right? People in Jakarta will go to Jogja, but they won't go to Bali. So we thought, okay, why not let's say tap into machine learning, data science, statistical analysis? Why not let's tap into let's say the leading areas of research and the leading development and integrate our problems to actually address their capabilities. We saw this with the MIPA cooperation, but I think this is just the beginning of something deeper. So the idea is, let's say, for example, pricing prediction and revenue forecast, right? We're kind of doing it sort of like organically, but let's say if you can make a revenue forecast for every property on the island, right? And you can go to any homeowner and you can say, you know what, let us manage this because Bukit Vista will make this much money for you, and we're 90% sure that this will happen. I mean, that could be something really, really exciting. You could almost like be a service.
That's a monopoly.
Yeah, you can be a monopoly. You can go to anybody's house and say, "Hey, why don't you let me manage this? I will give you this kind of income, and I'm 90% certain that this will happen." And they would go, "Yes, okay, that's a great idea." Um, that's the power of, let's say, big data. That's the power of machine learning, and that's also like something that we want to do. So, okay, that's the idea of building a research and development and learning center in Jogja.
Okay, so basically, location wise, we create a place for the technical and also for the research on Jogja.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good idea. Basically, most of the university actually, a lot of in Java actually, and also a technique, an engineering university like ITB, other thing. I think Jogja will be a middle location that actually can be used as a recruiter even for Surabaya and also even for Bandung and
Right.
Jakarta.
Okay.
So location wise, money wise, I think that's the best. I think that's the most efficient.
True, and it's a little bit easier to afford as well. Okay, cool. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Let's go over to ask Bayu. How do you envision this being done?
Um, Yeah, but the one that I can still imagine is basically so far is just technical. Basically, we are doing internships, and then we are also doing uh, what do you call fresh graduate. So basically, like smart people. Currently, we have PD. So basically, they're doing really great in university. They have he won like some academic I don't know some awards or something and amazing GPA, but basically he don't have any working experience. So yeah, so people like this, they need a validation. Basically, they have understood the science behind it, but they don't. But they need the work to prove that this is actually correct or applicable. So we are looking at people like this to help us in innovating or basically exploring what their fields can do to help our business.
Mm. Okay, how their
And
fields
then
of study.
yeah, and then also even internship also helping us. Basically, they are curious and this is something that we cannot do in term of like in-house person like the employee cannot do this because as an employee normally we do this every day, so we are getting good at doing this. We don't complain. We say that oh it's easy like because I'm doing this already every day for a year. But if there's someone new and then they see that why you are doing this, this is so not efficient, then yeah we need that kind of person to see in from different perspective as well. So intern is very good for that.
And we discovered that, right? Through like
Yeah,
Devanda's work with Drone Deploy,
yeah.
Raka's work with Instagram Story. We have seen. Okay, great. I guess that goes back to leaders again, right? So
Mm,
one of the best part of leaders is that you don't necessarily need to have the best ideas. You just need to get the best ideas out of the people that you are working with,
mm,
and then encourage them to continue on those ideas. I think that's actually really vital. A lot of new people won't feel very confident that their ideas will be accepted because they're new. But it's actually the credit goes to the team for whoever gets the best ideas. Okay, we've run out of time right now, so we're about 3 minutes over. But I think we covered a lot of good material, and there's still some material about the rest of some other ideas that we want to do in Jogja and also
mm.
in Canggu too as well. Okay, that felt very fruitful and like a really nice discussion. We really sealed in some values and shared some vision and shared in also this thing. Okay, great. Any concluding remarks before we go? Over to Rafik. No, good. Okay, Risky.
How good, sir?
Okay, all right. Dominic. Okay, Alvin. Okay, and Bayou. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for coming in to the Leadership Guild. Good to see everybody here. Great energy, and we'll see you at the next one next Friday. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
And okay. Bye bye.